Hello, 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 and welcome to this week's episode of the Confidently You podcast. My name is Helen, head coach, owner of Fit Girl Club, lifestyle coaching for women, feeling healthier and happier. How are you? If this is your first episode that you're listening to, you're probably going to think, what on earth is this woman on about? But I'm just going to open with, obviously, I'm still a bit tired from my escapades at the weekend. So I'm going to try and tell you a story. But yesterday when I was doing my check-ins, I was getting my words wrong. Now, I get my words wrong every day. It's just part of who I am. But it was more extreme yesterday. Some really unusual ones. So if I stumble a bit, that's just who I am. I'm going to keep it in. But how are you? How have you been? And welcome. Oh, I've been excited for 9 months about doing this podcast episode. And if you've seen my social media, you'll know what's coming up. But if you haven't, disclaimer, I didn't finish my race. Ah, no. Am I upset? No. I am not upset. I did amazing. And we're going to go deep dive, girl. Now, this is going to be a deep dive into all my race, the planning for it, how I got into it, everything that happened running up to it, and then what happened during it, and then why I had to stop. There will be some TMI, girls. Just FYI, I'm going to be telling you absolutely everything, including some of my bodily functions that happened, which might be a bit TMI, but I'm here to be transparent. This is who I am. This is who I am as a coach. I'll always be honest with you. I could be hiding away in a corner now, not talking about it, but I'm here to talk about it because you've got to celebrate the highs and lows. And I might be annoyingly positive. Captain Positive Pants was my name for the weekend. But it's just naturally who I am. I didn't wake up after minimal sleep on Saturday night and Sunday morning and go, I can't believe I didn't finish. I'm such a failure. I instead thought, I can't believe I just ran 46 miles yesterday. How amazing I am. Just my brain instantly went into positive, and I'm not down, I'm not out, it's not over, and it just happened. Okay. So I'm going to go, let's deep dive. Let's go into Helen's race, Helen's ultra, what happened, and let's go back to the very beginning. So going back, I did an episode, Couch to Ultra Part 1, a few months ago. And that is an episode all about how I became a runner, got into running and did my first ultra marathon, which was July last year. And it was the 8 stations, charm bracelet, 30 miles, 50k from Whitby to Pickering. Okay. And I talked all about that and how I got there. So now we'll pick up that story after that. So what happened straight after that was I was injured. I had to stop running for a month. I went to a physio, a really good physio, and she gave me exercises to do, and I'd stop running completely. Then after a month of doing all these exercises, which I still do now, these strengthening exercises for my hamstring to stop the hamstring tendinopathy, I started building up slowly. So I went back from nothing to build up, but you never go back to nothing. This is what I say about fat loss or weightlifting or any journey. If you have illnesses or you have to stop, or if you've got a long period of holiday or just a breakaway or anything, when you come back to it, you still have all the knowledge and your body still knows how to do all the things you did before. So I wasn't starting running again from scratch. My fitness hadn't gone back to zero. It had dropped and I had to do some work to get it back to where I want it to be, but it had increased. And I just got back running again. And I could only do 30 minutes every few days. So I was running I'd gone from running 30-mile weeks to running 5-mile weeks. And then I love podcasts, right? I'm obsessed with this. So whenever I get into something, I get really obsessed with it. And this is why I learn a lot. And that's why you've probably noticed that, I went from, if you've followed me for a while, or if you know me, I went from a road half marathon to a trail half marathon to a trail ultra, which seems like a really short period of time. It was a year, so there was plenty of training there. I didn't just jump around and do 6 races in a month. But then to jump from a 30-mile to a 50-mile, I did so much research and listen to podcasts. I read blogs. I test things out. I stick to my training plan. I do everything by the book as much as I can, as much as feasibly possible. And obviously, you're going to get ill. You're going to have holidays, you're going to have breaks. But where I can, I'm doing it. I don't just not go for a run because I can't be bothered. Like, I've had plenty of times where I'm like, I really don't want to do this. And I just force myself to do it. I'm resilient, super resilient. And I enjoy it. And I enjoy the process. And it's just become part of who I am. So I was listening to podcasts and reading books and stuff. The Lakeland 50 this time last year just started showing up on my algorithm because of the people I follow, other runners I follow, athletes that are really, prominent in the ultra world. I was like, oh, what's this? It's they say is it the hardest race in the UK? It's not the longest, but the terrain is challenging. It's challenging terrain for the UK. I think there's a race in Snowdon actually that might be slightly harder, but it is challenging terrain. Okay. So it's not like nothing's easy, right? If you're sat on the couch and you can't even run a kilometre's hard. You have to use perspective for this. Everything above is hard. But I'd run a 30-mile ultra on nice tracks, hills, but not the Lake District, right? It's so different. It is so different. And I'd done that, and then I saw this race, and you have to enter a ballot. The people enter, and only, I think it was 1,300 got in this one for the 50 race, and there's a 100-mile race as well. It's 105 miles. It's ridiculous. And you can't get into the 100-mile race unless you qualify for it if you do the 50 in under 16 hours, which I was on track to do until I had to stop. But anyway, let's not digress into that. And I just put my name in the hat. I thought, I'm not going to get in it. And if I didn't get in it, there's another one that I want to do, which is around Windermere, which is an ultra, which is challenging, but not quite as challenging terrain. Still challenging though. Like, everything's challenging, remember. Everything's a challenge. I'm not an athlete. I'm not fast. I'm not, I'm out there for hours on end. It is a challenge. No matter what you say to anyone, you might look at me and be like in awe, but a challenge to you could just be, running a 5K. It doesn't matter. I'm more in awe of people that go from nothing to just moving, because that's the hardest bit. So never dampen your success by someone else's success. They're all, everyone's success is valid. So I put my name in the hat and I got in, and I was like, oh, farts. Let's go. So I just started training. And what I did was I went back to basics, and I built up my base level fitness, because I found that when I was trying to run in zone 2, which is like meant to be your easy heart rate zone that you can go for hours and end, right? So when I'm doing an ultra of this caliber, I was aiming to be out for like 14 hours, 16 hours. It's a 24-hour cut off anyway. So you can't be running that at like high end heart rate for the whole time. You just can't keep up that. You die. So I taught my body to be in a low heart rate. I started working on this, and it's something I worked on consistently. I built some strength training. I moved to York where it was really flat, so I started it in Stairmaster. First time on Stairmaster, I was dying on level 8, 20 minutes, dead. By the end of my training, I got up to level 16. Only for a bit, but I could do between 8 and 16 for an hour. This is what training is, girls. It's about building things up. You set yourself a goal and you break it down. If you don't know how to do that, you get yourself a coach. Obviously I'm a coach, but I know how to break it down. I worked on my nutrition strategy, make sure I was fueling well, fitting in long runs. And then I went on recce runs. In January, I went on a night run from Ambleside to the finish, which was amazing. And I went on a recce run in June. I did a ultra marathon. Well, it was a marathon, but it was 28 miles, so it was over that. The White Horse Hard Mows in May, felt really strong for that. I'd recce'd it, gone out, done it. So I did the work. I did everything. Week on week on week, I built up until my peak week a few weeks ago, and I run 52 miles, 14 hours, over 10,000 feet of elevation, which covers the course. So the course I was doing was it's about 49 miles. It's called the Lakeland 50, but it's actually 49 miles, 10,000 feet of elevation. Now, I think people need to recognise how much that is. It's so much. 10,000 feet is a lot. It's an absolute lot. I worked out how many Ben Nevises it was, but it's a few times up Ben Nevis. I also did Stairmaster. I did a couple of hours Stairmaster, and I did my strength training. I still did my strength training, kept my muscles strong, kept my bones strong, kept everything strong, and I did some plyometrics and run specific training. So that was the build up for 9 months. I did this build up and I got to my peak week. To be honest with you, I wish I'd done the race that week because I'd have absolutely smashed it because I felt mint. I felt absolutely amazing. And I was saying, if the race is tomorrow, I'd smash it. Well, I'd probably find it challenging because I haven't tapered. My body's obviously tired from like loads of training. But I thought, I'm ready. I felt so ready. So I did a taper and I did 3 weeks. This is where you like take your running volume down to recover your muscles and feel better. Now, disclaimer, I will add this in. My body is not that sore. So I finished at 46 miles. So that's still an amazing effort. Like unreal. 46 miles. It's like 74 kilometers. 74 kilometers I ran for. You walk up the hills, but on my feet for that long, for 14 and a half hours, my quads hurt a bit. They're a bit sore. Nothing else. I can walk downstairs. I'm not absolutely dead. I was a bit tired, but I'm stood here now. It's Tuesday. I'm okay. I'm going to really recover though, and I'll come on to that later. So I was ready. I did the taper right. I reduced my volume and I got really ready for it. I did recovery. So went to a sports massage. I did sauna, but this is the evidence that my body's actually okay. It shows you that I did those things right. Where the wheels fell off, can't quite pinpoint it. And everyone I've spoke to as well can't quite pinpoint it. So it could be a multitude of different things, which I'll talk about in a minute. So it gets to race, the day before the race. So we're driving up to the lakes and I'm carb loading. So you carb load 42 hours, no, 42 hours. 40, see, I told you what the words, 48 hours before. So where you increase your carbohydrate intake, and that's what I did. So instead of having, yogurt for breakfast, I had more oats. I had loads of pasta instead of having chicken and veg. And I always feel bloated with it anyway, because I'm not used to eating that much carbs. To be honest with you, talking about it now, and it's making me feel a bit nauseous. Then on Friday afternoon, we'd got to the race village. It's amazing, right? This race is so huge. There's so many people doing it. There's people doing the 100 race. The atmosphere is incredible. The community, I cannot tell you. Like, I've seen it before and I get it, but the fact that my best mate came up, Fee, and her partner Craig, they brought Lily, the dog, support dog, and obviously Martin was supporting me. But my best mate Fee, who has literally never been into trail run. She's a really good runner. She does a bit of running, but she does more weightlifting and CrossFit. And I met her at CrossFit, and we've done the High Roxes together. We've done 2 High Roxes together, but she's never been like a trail runner. She's already like, I need to get into this. Like, the atmosphere in the community is outstanding, and that's the one thing I love like about trail running. And I love being outside in the hills and everything about it. But the community is unreal. Just everyone just friendly and supporting. And especially in this day and age where you see so much negativity and negative news, it's so nice to go out and experience real humans who are genuinely amazing, supporting each other. So we got there on Friday afternoon and you go and register, and that was great fun. You get your tracker on, you get all your stuff, and you have your kit check, because you have to carry a lot of kit. I've got a race vest, and in it I had to have spare, sealed up in a bag, emergency clothes, which I actually did use because when I got unwell, that's what I had to use. Waterproof trousers, waterproof jacket, a first aid kit, which I actually used as well. Emergency food, 500 calorie flapjack, a compass, a proper plastic cup, a spork, all your hydration. So I actually took extra hydration. I'll come on to that in a minute, because this is why when I talk about when I get ill, there's some things that you could be like, oh, was it dehydration? Was it this? And I'll tell you why I don't think it was and what I'd prepared for. And training taught me this as well. But you have this pack on, right? And your pulse and everything. And I've packed all my stuff in, got all my stuff ready. And Martin picked it up and he went, my gosh, that's heavy. And I went, no, it's not. Tell me it's not heavy, so I don't think about it. But once it's on your back, you don't think about it. But I've learned to run with that on my back. So you've basically learned to run with a 10 kilogram, maybe more, weighted vest on. Because you think the fluid I had 2 kilograms worth of fluid, of water and electrolyte drink, and then my food, and then all that other stuff I've just talked about. So it's on a head torch and a spare battery. So you have all this stuff. It is a lot that you take with you. So you did your kit check, and then we just milled around a bit, and then we went back to eat some more carbs, and wait for Fee to arrive with Craig. But at that point, I was like, I've got really bad tummy ache, and I just got this stomachache. And I suffer with IBS sometimes. It just happens. And it could either be nerves, excitement, or something I've eaten, or a bug I've picked up. You just don't know. And I'm just so used to dealing with it. So I actually lied on the grass outside the car park for a bit and helped alleviate. But then I had really bad wind, very smelly, and just not good. So I forgot about that. I was just like, oh, because I'm so used to having it, I forgot about that. So that might, who knows? Well, no, unless you're a doctor and I've had like medical tests like on my stools, we'll never know what the actual cause was. But there's the things that build up to it now. After in hindsight, I look back and go, oh, maybe that's why. So then we went back and we watched the 100-mile race set off. They set off at 6 o'clock in the evening. Then they have to run through the night. Some of them run through 2 nights. The last finisher was like 39 hours, sorry, and 50 seconds. So you finished like 10 minutes before 10 a.m. on Sunday. Imagine setting off at 6 o'clock on Friday night and you arrive at 10 o'clock on Sunday to your destination. That's unreal. 2 nights no sleep. Just these people. And I'd say he looked about in his 60s, maybe late 50s. Just amazing people. Just the resilience of these people. Like, I think I'm strong and resilient, but then I look at these other people and I'm like, wow, what an inspiration. And it's such a good atmosphere and they play music and it's just amazing. So we watched them go off. And then I had my race briefing where they tell you things. And in that race briefing, they're like, whatever you do, the last thing you want is to not finish. Just get to the end. Whatever you can do, get to the end. And I was like, I'm not going to finish. Before this, Martin had said to me a few weeks ago, what happens if you don't finish? I was like, well, I will. My leg would have to be falling off. Nowhere in my mind did I ever think that I'd get sick, like ill, like feel that way I did. I hadn't even contemplated that was a possibility. I just thought, oh, if I'm injured or, I'd walk to the end or, if I felt a bit, I don't know. Now I've had it, I'm like, I can't actually believe that's a possibility because I've never felt like this while running. So I'll come on to that in a bit. So then I went home, back to our Airbnb, got a really good night's sleep. My body battery was a bit low the next day, but that's because I'd had a really busy day. Just excitement, things going on, and my body hadn't recovered while asleep. But maybe in hindsight, that was another sign that my body was fighting something. I had my breakfast. I had 2 oat pots. I had a banana. I drank loads of water, electrolytes, coconut water. There was traffic to get there, so we picked up Fee and Craig. Fee did my hair in the car. Can I just say as well, like Fee is a hairdresser, but she did an amazing job with my hair. So normally I run with this, if you're not watching, I have like a side plait. It's just my signature like look because it's just easy. But when I run a lot, that just goes into like a dreadlock because I sweat so much. So I got Fee, she did 2 plaits and then like bound them round and they stayed put through wind and rain, sweat and sick. Everything I went through, they stayed put. So thanks, Fee. You are amazing. And it looked cute as well. Not that you care about that when you're racing, but racing. I'm not racing. There was traffic going into the car park, but I wasn't even worried about that. I wasn't stressed about it. I had like 40 minutes. I was like, if I need to walk to the start, it's only half a mile. Like I was really cool and calm. And when I got there, I had to go wee in a bush because the toilet queue was so busy. And then I I didn't want to be at the back of the starting pen because if you're at the back of the starting pen, you get loads of bottlenecks going around the Dale Main Estate. So I was like, I want to be nearer the front. So I got in when the gates opened and I ended up being at the front, like literally 3 people back from the front. But I was laughing so much. I was having the time of my life. I knew it didn't matter because I'd just go to the side and everyone could overtake me. For 5 minutes, girls, when the start pen thing went off, I was at the front. I didn't feel scared. I wasn't nervous. Start lines for some reason don't scare me. I wasn't anxious. I wasn't like, oh my God. I was just like, yeah, I'm going to do this. Like everything in my head said, I'm just going to do this. You're just going to do it. I set off with everyone. Maybe like everyone sets off a little bit fast. But then I really pulled back and slowed it down. The first bit was quite hard. Now, this is a bit you can't recce. It's part of an estate and you just could do a 4-mile loop around it. But the grass was long. You sat up a hill as well. And obviously I was with the front runners. But I don't mind. I just started walking. I was walking. But my heart rate was really high, even for the pace I'd gone. So I taught myself in training on many of the trail runs I've done. Been on the Wold. I've been up. I've done the lakes, obviously, it's the recce runs. I did lots of different like 20-mile runs around Leeds area and the Dales and like I've been loads of places. And especially my last long run, that 20-mile Wolds Way one that I did, my heart rate was in zone 2 on my, like, 10-minute, 11, around 10-minute pace. I say to about 10 and a half I can hold, for zone 2, like, just, like, plodding along. For some reason, I was, like, 10-minute pace, even short no, but it'll be longer than that. It was, like, 11 or 12-minute pace, and my heart rate was at, like, 175. My zone 2 was, like, 130 something. So I was like, "Right, maybe it's just, like, excitement, maybe it just won't drop out." Then I was, like, struggling to, like, take a deep breath, but I didn't feel knackered. So I just slowed down. I slowed it down and I was just plodding along. Then I had to adjust my bag a bit because my water, not bottle, the Camelback, the bladder, was sticking to my back. If you're watching now, I'll show you my 2 ailments. You can see what 2 blister plasters on there, some hydrocolloid plasters on my back, where it's chafed and rubbed. So I stopped and started walking and just moved that around. You've got hours to do it. I'm not like, oh my God, I'm behind. It's not as if you're doing a 10K race. No, stop and readjust. I did this a couple of times on the run because if you've got a problem that you start to feel, if you're like, oh, I'll wait till the next checkpoint could be an hour. Stop and deal with it. So I stopped, I moved it around, and it did feel better. So that rubbing, I think, was from the first few miles. And I know in future now what to do. I tape my back. I had taped the bottom of my back where I know it rubs. It's just that my back's quite flat and obviously quite muscly. So the pack just rubs. So if I use K2 tape, K2? Yeah, it's K2. That really helps me. So just top tip, girls, if you ever got any chafing, K2 tape, get off Amazon, just stick it on. It stays put. It literally stayed on for 14 and a half hours through sweating. So then, Martin ran that bit with me. Fee tried to come with me, but it just got so busy. It was mad, actually. They say supporters can do it, but I wouldn't actually recommend it. It's just a bit too mental. And then you start running off down into Pulley Bridge, and I ended up being with a really lovely girl, and we had a really nice chat, and that was nice down to Pulley Bridge. Then there's people cheering you on the street, and you just feel like a celebrity. So some people dressed in like dinosaur outfits, you just like cheering you on, going, "Yeah, go on!" shouting at you, "You're amazing! What a wonderful woman! Super women! Yes, go!" And you're just like, you feel like a celebrity. It's unreal. Then you go out, and then you're up a hill, and I made a friend there, and I was just chatting away, and I felt great. I felt really strong. When I did the recce run in June, I'd had a bit of a chest problem previously. Like I was struggling on a few runs, and I think I'd had a little viral chesty thing. So whenever I did the big uphills, I really struggled. I had to stop, slow down, take deep breaths because I was just getting out of breath too much and I felt like dizzy. But this time I felt fine. Carried on up the hills, power hiking, and I was doing like 15-minute miles up some hills. Like that's fast, like proper going for it. My legs are strong. I felt really good. Then running down past Ullswater, you go to the first checkpoint. This was absolutely mental. It was so busy. This was the worst checkpoint. But luckily for me, I just needed my waters filling up and to put my electrolyte drink in, which I'd put into test tubes. Top tip, buy some little plastic test tubes to pour your electrolyte and carb drink in. It's like your white powder that you have in your drink bottle. So I had 2 500-milliliter bottles with carb and electrolytes in at the front. Then in the back, I had a litre of water. Now, it wasn't a hot day on Saturday. It was warm. I was in a vest. I was warm enough and I sweat a lot. But I've done these things before, and you can be 2, 3, 4 hours between checkpoints, depending on how slow you go. And I know I sweat a lot and I need a lot of drink. So the last thing I ever wanted was to run out of water. I never ran out of water in those 14 hours, which to me proves that when I got unwell, it definitely wasn't dehydration. There was something more going on with my body. But on the way down there, I started with a headache. I have never had a headache when I've run, ever in my life. In my vest, side pocket, paracetamol, took 2, carried on. Drinking plenty of my fluids, keeping going, all 3. So carb and electrolytes, water. Carb and electrolytes, water. Eating my carbs, maple syrup, Voomba, staying, on top of my energy. That side was fine, but this headache came on. Got to the first checkpoint, filled up my waters, filled up my little plastic Ziploc bag I took. I filled it with biscuits and sweets. And I just walked out of there eating rich teas, bourbon biscuits and sweets. Great fuel. Went up the climb. It's the longest climb on the route. I think it was over 2,000 feet and it's a lot of false summits. But I felt great going up there. I wasn't going too fast. I kept a nice pace. felt really solid, so much better when I did the recce, felt really good. Apart from this headache, I just had this little niggly, like, tension headache across the front here. It actually felt like my, I can do it now here, it felt like my hat was maybe too tight. Anyway, who knows where it came from. Then I was carrying on, and at the top of that hill, because it was still there, I then took some salt tablets, which I had in my, tablet little packet here. Now, there is another thing that could have added to this. I stopped having coffee before the race, so it could have been caffeine withdrawals, but I do it a week before, so I also don't think that's maybe necessarily it. Then you go down a big hill and you run along the side of the water. Now, this bit's quite challenging. It's really rocky. So up and down the it's a big hill, is quite grassy, which I find easier to run. I find it quite spongy to run on, short grass. Then you get down to near Haweswater and there's loads of bracken and it's quite rocky terrain. Now, I was following a girl ahead of me and you're as fast or as slow as the person in front of you, but she was doing all right. And then there was a bit of a train of people. And I kept looking it up and then I kept tripping and I was like, why am I tripping? I got really annoyed with myself and I went, you're looking up. You need to look down. So I had to just keep my eyes down all the time. So for the rest of the run, I just looked down. This will explain something in a minute. Running along, following this girl. And then I ended up with this little group, which was nice, like a little train. And I was like, I ended up at the front and I was like, I'll let you pass because they'd done it before. I was like, I'll follow you, which I prefer. Because if you're at the front of the train, you're like, oh, what am I meant to be doing? And you're running for a long period of time until you get to the checkpoint. But then by the time I got to the checkpoint, I was just like, this headache was still just like throbbing in my head. So this had been there now for 4 hours. I'd had a 4-hour headache. Nothing was getting rid of it. So got to the checkpoint, just told one of the marshals. The marshals, by the way, make this event like unreal what these people have done for me. I'm going to send in an email thanking them. I wish I could remember the names. I did ask them, but I just forgot them straight away. And I said to her, I'm struggling a bit. I've got a headache. I've never had this before. She went, right. And I'd already picked up a sandwich. I'd filled up my water. I was filling up my water. I picked up 2 sandwiches, a bag of crisps, ready salted, very nice, Seabrook. I had a couple of slices of watermelon, a couple of oranges, and then did my electrolytes and stuff. And she went, right, have some salted crisps, which I was doing. And then she said, have some roller cola. Races are famed for this. Sugar and caffeine, basically, in a fizzy drink, but the shake it so it's flat. And I was like, oh, my strategy wasn't going to have any caffeine until later on. She went, you're suffering, have it now. Now, I also think this is one of the things that might have made me worse later because of the way my stomach was, but I still don't know. I still can't pinpoint because I wouldn't recommend having it so early on in the race. So 5 hours in, and you've still got another however long hours. Now, I wasn't going to spend loads of time at this checkpoint, but I did spend a bit of time there to get myself a bit better. I left there eating a sandwich, I'd had some cola, and I had to go to the toilet. TMI information here. I'd had a toilet in the morning when I got up, and it was loose. I'd had one just before I left the house, it was loose. I had another one there, it was loose. The amount of times I went to the toilet during this day was a lot for me. But the good news was I was still weeing, which sometimes I don't do when I'm going on long runs. So it shows I was hydrated, but there was just something not right in my body. Anyway, you leave that checkpoint and you start up a hill. And then I felt great. I felt fine. So I was like, brilliant. This roller cola solved my issues. And going to the toilet and eating a sandwich and everything and the crisps. And then there's a long period and it's really rocky descent. Now, when I did this in the recce, I struggled with it because it was like moving rocks and I just put the brakes on. I was just a bit like, I had this bit of trepidation that just goes, oh, you step back a bit. And that's the worst thing you can do because you want the momentum to take you. So on Saturday, I actually smashed this bit. There was part of it, I had my music on in one ear where I was like just running along, having the time of my life, just got a really nice pace and just like, woohoo! Just like, I just had such a good time. This whole point to the next checkpoint was actually amazing for me. I thoroughly had the best time ever. That was the best bit of the race, which is funny because it was actually probably the worst bit last time. There was then a point though that I had to stop because then my knee started hurting. Now, I've never had this problem in my life. And this is another thing. It wouldn't have ever stopped me. I'd have still got to the finish. But then the downhills, there's something with my IT band on my left knee and I just got a bit of inflammation. It hasn't hurt since. Doesn't hurt going downstairs now. Nothing's hurt since. It's just a build of oppression, something I probably need to work on and strength train going forward. But I stopped. I got my pack out. I got some ibuprofen, put that on, ibuprofen gel, because you're not meant to take ibuprofen tablets when you're running because they affect your kidneys. Just FYI, don't do that. Ibuprofen gel, put it on and was all right. I was having to go a bit slower though now downhill because if I walked down, it was fine. But every time I jumped down, obviously running, it hurt my knee. So I did slow down a bit then, but I was still moving. I was still fine. I still felt good. Down into Troutbeck where I saw Fee and Martin with their signs. Martin had a great sign. He'd regretted not making a sign earlier, so apparently he'd got some toilet roll and he just wrote on it words of encouragement, which is fantastic. Fee and Lily and Craig, and they were all just like, "You're doing amazing, well done." And this was 26 miles in. If you look back at all my videos, my pictures, I'm smiling, I felt good, I was still going. I was like, yay, let's go. Up a big hill, through Troutbeck Village, and then down into Ambleside. I picked up a friend there. I made loads of friends on the journey. Loads of people shouting, "Yay, Captain Positive Pants." I love to like help people. There's a man struggling with his poles. I was like, "Do you want a hand putting them back in?" Do you know, like I like just to be like part of it. I'm not going to win the race. I want to be there. I'm not stopping with everyone, but if someone's struggling, I'll be like, "Are you okay?" It's vice versa. People do that with me. And I just love that community. You know, I'm not at the front. We're not pushing each other out of the way. We're there to support and help each other. So I made this lovely friend and we were just chatting along the way and we got down into Ambleside. Now, Ambleside is like the hub of the Lakeland races on the Saturday, especially during the day or into the evening. And the streets are just lined with people cheering you on. Everyone was shouting, everyone was cheering. I got to one bit where you cross the road and this woman stopped the traffic for us. I was like, "Oh my God, thank you so much." I was like, "I love you." And it's just, I cannot put into words how amazing I felt just running along for about a mile with everyone shouting, screaming to cowbells and just saying how amazing you are. Saw Fee, Craig and Martin there as well. Just support. And I just felt amazing. Like, oh my God, this is like overwhelming. Then I got into that checkpoint and I had a cup of tea with sugar, which I never do, but you're racing. So sugar, you know, you endurance running, sugar me up, sugar in everything. I had a piece of toast. I had a bag of crisps and I think I had some watermelon. Do you know, so I was fueling, filled up, tried to fill, well, actually I didn't fill up my water yet. Talking to my new friend and she was like, "How much further? What we got?" I was like, "It's fine now. We've done the hardest bit. Let's go." And I was encouraging her. Then I went outside and all of a sudden I just felt unwell. Now I did change my top because my sweaty vest and it was getting to the evening. This was about 8 o'clock now. So I put my took my sweaty vest off, put my t-shirt on, got my head torch out, got ready because I knew I was prepped. I was ready. I knew it was coming. And then all of a sudden I just felt really hot and unwell. I think in a way my body would have just wanted to stop then. That was like the stop point. So I was like, right, I'll go to the toilet. Went to the toilet again, loose again. This is the thing. And I went to the toilet in the checkpoint before again, loose again. Because there was a checkpoint before this one. Nothing much to report there, but I'd had some Coke, I'd had some different things. But I think it was probably too much roller colour as well. There's a multitude of things that just my body just didn't like. And then I was talking to the guy on the water station. He helped me fill my bottles up. I filled my Camel back as well, my bladder, filled everything up, put my electrolytes in one of them and then just water in the others. But as I was talking to him, I didn't say anything, but I was like, I do not feel well. Then I left the checkpoint and my client, who I've never met, had come to cheer me on. She was like, Helen, it's me. Oh, Emma, I love you so much for doing that. You were just such a wonderful woman. And I couldn't speak properly. Gosh knows what I said to her. I was just like, there. I didn't say she looked amazing though, because she did. Cause she's actually finished her journey with me. And not only she started weightlifting in the gym when she said she was scared to go to the gym, she's now running and she's trail running and she's thinking about signing up to a race. So don't let this put you off, Emma, if you listen to this. You're amazing. Go do that race. I want you to do it. You'll be fine. I'm going to live another day. I'm going to fight another day. So don't worry. It's not putting me off. But I was just like, I felt really weird. So I just set off. And the only thing at that time that I felt weird when I stopped. I think because when I kept moving, because my brain was just like, just keep moving. It was just one foot in front of the other. I could kind of mask it. So I just kept going. So this is 32 miles in. So I've still got, what, 17 to go. Is that right? 9 minus 2, 7. Yeah. See, told you the brain's not working. So some way to go, but in my head, I'm like, I can do this. And then I carried on a bit and then I saw my support crew again, Martin, Fee and Craig. And I was like, I'm really struggling. I'm not feeling good. So they've seen me like an hour ago, I'd be like, woo! And then I'm like, bull. The highs and lows of this race, I've gone on a massive roller coaster. I was like, I'm not feeling good for it. And then I had some salty crisps actually where I'd picked them up from the last checkpoint. And then there's a really nice bit of the course that's like down past either a lake or a river through, and it's this lovely, it's a flat path. Hello, flat path. It's not road, it's still trail, this stunning bit. And I was talking to this lovely lady and I'd eaten my crisp and I was like, I'm going to run this bit. And I actually got moving. I was doing 12-minute miles, but I was still running and the sun was setting and the sky was pink and it was just, and then I was up again. I was like, yes, I'm back again. So I carried on. Then I saw my support crew for the last time and I was like, ready, salty crisp, save lives. I'm good. Carry on. Then within 10 minutes, I was in the next checkpoint and it got dark. As I walked into this checkpoint, it's a big marquee full of people, noise, lights, everything going on. I walked in, I was like, I can't be in there. And there's just something about going in there just sent me weird. I just couldn't do it. Like when I was running, because I was concentrating on running, I was fine. But when I went in this checkpoint, I felt awful. This woman, one of the marshals, because I went in and went back out, she was like, are you all right? I was like, I just can't go in there. She went, what do you need? She did everything for me. She got everything out. She was in the back of my pack, pulling things out. She couldn't find one of the test tubes. She kept finding the empty ones. And I was like, there's one left with electrolytes in it, electrolytes and carbs. I was like, I need that. And then she was amazing. And I still felt sort of okay then. I just couldn't be inside. It felt overwhelming. I went in and I had some digestive biscuits, did I have a cup of tea or I think I had some more cola. I shouldn't have done that. But you live and learn. Just filled up everything. And then I was like, went to the toilet again. And now this is the big warning sign. I sat in the Portaloo and it felt like someone was moving the Portaloo. So I was obviously like dizzy and like just felt blah. And as you know, I suffer with a bit of dizziness. I've got seasonal BPV, but it was just a big thing of different things. Anyway, I just knew I could get to the next bit and I wasn't stopping there. I wasn't that bad there. I didn't feel good, but I wasn't that bad. I basically walked the next bit. It took a long time. And I picked up this stray guy. Gosh, I don't even know what his name was. I didn't ever look at his bib because I could only, and my head touch on, all I could look at was the floor. I just one foot in front of the other, just moving forward. I wasn't fast. I jog a little bit, but not much. I was fine going up the hill again, but in an ideal world, I'd have been running some of that, but I just couldn't. This guy was with me, he wasn't drinking or anything. I was like, you had anything to eat? So I gave him a bourbon out of my pocket. It was soggy. I was like, do you want a soggy bourbon biscuit? And he was like, oh, thank you. And I had a soggy bourbon biscuit. It was very nice, actually. And then I still had like plenty of water and I had a flask of juice as well. I got some juice from the last stop and I was like, here, you've not got any drink. Matt had a little bit of juice left. I was like, take this, drink this. So I was like saving him as well. It's funny what you do when you're in this like together with someone. We didn't even speak. We just spent these miles together. There was a really obscure moment though when we got to the top of this hill and some supporters had just parked up there and they were cheering everyone on and they had their car with all the doors shut, but they had music on. They were playing Pretty Green Eyes really loud and I was like, hey, but still I didn't feel great. So I was like, whoa, and you can't speak. Carried on, and it started raining by then as well. You just get it up, but you don't feel it. I could feel water dripping down my face because I didn't have my cap on because of my head torch. So I had my cap on backwards. I had my waterproofs on. I wasn't cold at this point. I was just keeping moving. And then I got to the checkpoint, and then I think my body, as soon as I saw someone, I just went, I don't feel good. I was like, I need help. And it was like, right, sit here. What do you need? These people, these volunteers, I really want to volunteer next year. I'm going to put my name forward. I want to go help out because these people, what they did for me was unreal. Now, this is where the story takes a dark turn. I sat down, I said, right, can I have a cup of tea? They're like, you need to eat something proper, substantial. So he got me cheese toasty and he was like, dip it in your tea and eat it. And it was going down, but I just felt terrible. Now, it wasn't just the nausea, it was the dizziness. It was like every time, everything felt awful. And then I got really cold. And he was like, right, sit next to, there was an open fire. It was like sitting next to the fire. But the fire, the smoke was awful. So that was making me feel sick. And then I was just like, bro, I really don't feel well. So I ended up in the medic tent, and the paramedics had just arrived for another lady who'd just passed out. This sounds insane, by the way, that I'm telling you all this, because this is like proper endurance. I don't know what race she was on a run, but you just push yourself to these extremes. And then one of the girls was just helping me, and they were trying to get me to eat, and I just couldn't. Then I was sick, and I was like, I need to make myself sick, which I did. Should have started TMI to come in with this. It was just water, like acidy water. And it was just tea, sugary tea coming back up. And I sat down, they got me a foil blanket, but I was the shivering. I was just like uncontrollably shivering. And then they were like, I think you need to lie down. So they got me on the bed, and I was like, I can't lie down because sort of lying down just made me dizzy. Then to this woman, I was just like, please don't leave me. I was like, I'm so scared. Please don't leave me. This is going to sound really dramatic, girls, but I'm just going to tell you how I felt. I was like, I feel like I'm going to die. Something came over me, just my body went into shock or whatever. And they're like, breathe, calm, you're all right, you're okay, you're going to be okay. Anyway, then I called, there was 3.5 miles left, right? It's 3.5 miles you have to go. It's called Jacob's Ladder. You're over a stile. I've done it. You go up a big hill. Then you're on the top of this fell for about a few miles. It must be a mile. It must be a mile across and a mile down. And then you've got a steep climb down. It's probably the hardest climb down. Now, I could have walked it in the normal circumstances, but I felt so ill and dizzy. I was so scared. I just couldn't. I was like, I need to stop. There was no like, oh, just rest a bit and you can carry on a bit. I felt that bad. The reason I called it was because I just couldn't have gone on. I literally couldn't have gone on. I went so far that I got to a point where I couldn't go on. So I called it and I said, can you call my emergency contact, which was Martin? It was funny for me trying to help her use my phone and get him to, because I couldn't even do things like that. And then, yeah, I went in the paramedics and they checked me over in the ambulance. They did all the tests. They said, are you fitting well? I was like, normally, yeah. Blood pressure was textbook good. Blood sugar was textbook good. Everything was fine. So nothing. And I was like, well, why do I feel this bad? And they were just like, no, they didn't know in a way. So this is why, looking back, nothing of this leads to me doing anything wrong, because I'd have had low blood sugar or low blood pressure or my ECG, my heart rate was fine, everything like that. It all leads to maybe I had something wrong with me before, like an illness or something. Or the only other thing I can think of is like too much salt, but I don't feel like I was. I was still peeing plenty. The issue before I stopped was my mouth was really dry. My mouth was so dry. I was like so thirsty, but I kept just drinking, like sipping on water and stuff. But I was just so thirsty. It was so unusual. But I think I've just pushed my body to its extreme with that day, what it could do. And I carried on until I literally couldn't stop. One other thing as well, if you're watching, you probably can't see actually, but I've got bites all over my face. 1, 2, 3, one on my eye there. So as I was running along, as the last bit walking. But I was walking like a good pace. I didn't really slow down. Because for me, I just needed to keep moving. But I remember something bit me and I was like, I'm going to feel that after the weekend. So I'm covered in bites on my face. Brilliant. And I just knew I couldn't carry on. But yeah, it's a bit sad that I didn't get the medal and didn't get the finish t-shirt. But there was nothing. I went as far as I could. And Martin picked me up, bless him. They did keep me in the ambulance for a while though. They were like, we have to keep you here on obs until we know you're okay. Getting out the ambulance, I couldn't walk. My legs had seized up. Oh my God. I couldn't even stand. My legs, so much pain down my legs. And then we got in the car. Martin covered me in his dry robe. Martin got my tracker back in, sorted everything out. It's like the support Martin's given me is unreal, girls. And I had a little sick bag. And then I was sick all the way back. And I was even sick when I got back in the Airbnb in the toilet. And then we managed to get my clothes off. Martin helped me. The smell. Poor Martin. We're still in a relationship after that. Went to bed, put loads of clothes on, shivered, slept for a few hours, and then in the morning I woke up, I felt okay. So exhaustion, belly, different things. But I did say that night, I was like, I'm never doing this again. I never want to do it again. And then since then, I'm like, I want to do it again. There's something in me that just wants to complete it. It's just something wrong with me. And I know this, people get this and they just like, you get to this point where you're just like, but I know I can do it justice. And it wasn't like my body gave up, like my muscles gave up on me. There was just something wrong with my bodily functions. Moving forward, what am I going to do? What are the next steps? I'm not out. I'm not down. I'm not out. I will rise again. I will do a 50 miler. I'm not going to do the Lakeland 50 next year because I've already got plans for my 40th of something I want to do. But I'm looking at a different race to do next year that's 50 miles. And I'm going to reach out and get some help from a coach just to make sure that I am ticking all the boxes. Even though I'm a coach, I love having a coach. And I've never had a running coach because I've always done all right with it, but it's time now. Running, an ultra coach, like a proper coach who, and I'll share my journey with you with it, but I'm always open to learning. Like, I'm not the best at this. I can teach my girls how to run certain distances and pass on my knowledge. But if I then get more knowledge from a coach, become the best I can be, who's actually like a trained medical professional as well, the coach I'm looking at, then I can pass all that information on. And it's not me being like, oh, I have to be the best, so I can't get a coach. No, it doesn't work like that. So yeah, I'm not finished yet. I didn't get a finished medal, but I will do one day. I'm not down, I'm not out. And I hope this just shows you as well that I've had a lot of messages, people saying it was the right decision for me to bow out. And, I'm a role model to my girls, and I'm a role model for pushing myself as hard as I can. And I want to be an inspiration for them that you can do tough stuff and push yourself. But I also want to be an inspiration that it's all right to not finish. Like, I'm not sad about it. I'm honestly not sad. I'm really impressed what I did. I got a PR, a lifetime PR. So the longest I'd ever run before this was 50k, which is 31 point something miles. And I did 74k and it was 46.19 miles, plus all the elevation. Like the elevation, you can't even add in the rocky terrain, how hard it was. So yeah, I'm impressed. And I was out for 14 and a half hours on my feet. Unreal. So yeah, just reset, go again, next goal. A year of my life I can't get back that I wouldn't have had it any other way. It is what it is. You just have to accept and move on, and I'm not sad about it. So I hope you enjoyed my story and journey. I'll always be transparent with you. I think it's really important, and you need to be transparent with yourself when it comes to your journey. It's all right. It's not failure. It's just feedback. What can you do differently next time, if anything? Might not have been anything I did wrong. Might have just been my cards were dealt on that day. Thanks for enjoying. See, told you, another one. Thanks for listening. Have a great day, and I'll be back next week. Goodbye.